Are we live or not?
Yeah,
No.
I told you to be ready. We're
People know I'm not fat.
He's just got the rig out.
We're already a minute late. All right. Bit different today.
We're living out of suitcases.
Last episode of the year. Now, I don't know what the audio is like because we've got no mic. It's just off the laptop audio. If you're in the live chat, just let us know how the audio quality sounds. Hopefully, it's not too bad, but the video quality is going to be pretty piss poor. So, yeah, this is it. Last for the year. And we'll see you next year. That's it. We're done. Thanks, boys. That's it. That's
the
it.
show.
Thanks for being here, boys. Yeah.
No, we'll get all that. This could be an all timer. This one.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's our moment. We finally, as a generation, we can hang our hat on a genuine moment.
Honestly, we are a force because of the intensity that we play at is just next level.
We want to be here. We want to impact finals, and it's one thing of obviously saying it, but we just lived it.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 142, the last episode for the year for us of the Almost Blues Brothers podcast, part of the Blue Broad Media Network and proudly powered in 2024 by Image Online. Don't have to do a little spiel for the studio because we're done. It's no more sponsorship. I'd ask how your weekends were, but you've been traveling. So do we need to get into any of that?
We've just been on a plane. I'll start this podcast.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Are we going to do anything personal before we get into footy? Because I know we're going to rant tonight.
Yeah, okay. So, we've obviously been on a plane for the last...
You said you had a not happy Dan from the plane.
I'll do that later.
Wait.
Yeah, I'll do...
That'll wait, I reckon. It's a good one.
Do you want to later?
Later, yeah. Don't do it now.
Yeah.
It's about the game.
We're not happy Dan's fucking... That was 60 points down in the game. That's my not happy Dan.
How was the flight?
This will lead into the not happy Dan.
I know what it is. I know what it is. Okay.
The transition was very good.
Jules nailed it.
The flight was very good.
Yeah, well, we were on the same flight, obviously.
In the end, yeah.
In the
But you
end.
didn't plan that.
No.
Unplanned.
But the stopover, there was just efficiency. No waiting in between, just bang, straight on the next one. We feel all right. We're not jet lagged. You jet lagged?
No, I feel good. The thing is, though, with the second plane, I've never heard this before. So over the speakers, they go, we want a baggage ID check.
Huh?
So the air hostesses were going around and asking people, is this your bag?
For your carry-on?
For our carry-on. Unheard of.
We've delayed by...
Yeah.
Still not happy then.
Yeah. Yeah, it sort of leads into it.
But it was good.
But that was...
Yeah, Joe, how have you been? You've obviously been in Europe the past couple of weeks. It was obviously good for us to be reunited, but how are you going?
That was actually...
we
didn't actually make a big deal of it last night when you got in. It was just like, hey, what's going on? Let's watch the footy.
I mean, what did you do yesterday? You did some laundry?
Yeah, I've been...
Laundry?
Well, I did. I've been here for almost 2.5 weeks now. And I had to do laundry at some point. Did I not? I had no fucking clothes left. Anyway, whatever. Without any further ado, let's get into it. Fuck the match report. Let's go. Start wherever you want.
Yeah, I'll start it off.
And listen, pre-show this morning, we've all just woken up. It's about 9 a.m. here. But for the last hour, we have just been teeing off.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this is going to go.
I'm going to start it so that certain fans can get out of the chat based on this comment. If there's fans, all right, there's fans of this footy club that are happy with being down by 60 and call themselves proud of last night's performance, go and wake up. Mm-hmm. Wake up to yourselves in the biggest way possible, because if you can say that you're happy with being 60 points down at any point of a game, and even though they say that we've clawed it back and we showed, fuck that. We will not be successful as a club if we can accept mediocrity like that. Go.
Yeah, good way to start.
Leave the chat now because I'm over it. I'm actually over it. I don't care about listeners and views and that anymore. I don't. No, I'm fuming. Well, we have. Haven't we been fuming, honestly, boys, for the last, since we woke up, talking about the game and just how that transpired?
What I mean,
honestly.
well, because obviously we didn't have the laptop charged, so half time we had to actually go. So like, we'll go get something to eat, and we're fuming then. And then even post game last night, like we didn't go to bed straight away.
I can't believe we
fuming then
dished
as well.
that up in a final. I really, and obviously we're going to go into it with factors and what we think why. But the fact that that was dished up for as long as it was without any change or any response was honestly embarrassing.
It was 60-0.
We did not kick a goal.
There was 60-0 at the 23rd minute mark of the second quarter.
Yeah. What was the stats last night? It was something like I think it was North Melbourne, 0 points at quarter time.
We're the first team since 1974. North Melbourne were the last team to do it then that was scoreless at quarter time in a final.
Yeah, and then we're pretty close. I can't remember who it was, but it was
No, there was no one.
No, in 1906, I think they
It was
mentioned
2 points.
Was 2 points
At halftime. Yeah, but there'd never been a team that was scoreless at halftime, and we saved it by 4 minutes.
Just how there can be no account.
Think about what we just said. Think about
Yeah.
what we just said. It's almost scoreless halftime. On that as well, I did some. This is a demo calc. The last 10 games of the year, we've had 9 quarters where we've scored a goal or less.
My God.
And in that same time period, we've had 8 quarters where teams have put 5 or more on us. Yeah. In that time period, since the Richmond game, the only 3 teams we've beaten were Richmond, West Coast, and North Melbourne. 3 teams that sit firmly entrenched in the bottom 4. That's the form we were taking into last night.
Yeah. So, do you want to start with selection? Because I wouldn't mind going there first, just purely off the fact of our reaction, seeing that TDK was sub.
Manny Costo, 1906, there was mud all over the ground, not perfect playing. So, fuck, you must have been there. How do you know?
That's unbelievable.
God,
but seriously,
they probably played.
Can we talk
with a bit more heart then as well?
They probably would have.
They definitely did, and tenacity. I can tell you that much. Selection boys, we were shocked with TDK being the sub.
I've never seen, and I don't understand the purpose of having a ruck as a sub.
No,
I can't comprehend it.
Not with seeing then the impact that he ended up having when he come on.
But I think we know what kind of impact we're going to get from him.
Yeah, but they were worried about. See, this is the shit. This is the things that piss me off.
They were clearly worried about the foot, and I said to you, there was some footage after the game on Instagram that they posted. I'll talk about this in a minute too. Some footage which leads on from what you said at the start. But there's some footage at the end of the game. I might try and show you actually while we're here. You continue, Jules, and I'll get this footage up.
I just think if he's playing, which he was named as sub, he's got to start. There's no question marks around it. Whether he's going to be able to last 80 minutes or longer or whatever it was.
I'll get you to watch this. Right? So they're walking off the ground. This was posted by Carlton Socials. Now, try and just take in everything you're seeing here. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Walking off the ground. Look at TDK.
Yeah.
Look at him. Right? So clearly, and he's limping quite heavily. Clearly, he wasn't actually ready to play. Right? So they're thinking, okay, we've only got Harry. We've only got Pitto. If one of them goes down, because Harry's injury prone with the quad coming in, if one of them goes down, we need a second ruck. That for me, that is the only logical reason you'd put TDK as the sub. To go, if we don't have to play her, we won't. But if one of them goes down, we need you to ruck.
Like we had to play him.
Yeah.
It's not if we
but I'm saying, but
I know with his body like that,
he wasn't ready to play. He was clearly injured going to the game.
Why is he the sub?
No, that's why. I'm telling you why.
No,
Because I think if the game had gone differently, where we weren't 60 points down and we weren't forced to make the change to bring him in, I don't think he would have played.
I think he still could have played forward and given more than what other players would have given throughout the game.
What else did you see?
E.g. Durdens.
What else did you see in that video? Just by the way,
no emotion.
Emotion was 0.
there was emotion from a certain part of the ground.
Fans.
Yeah.
They clapped him off.
Yeah.
All right, if you were there, I get it. You spent a lot of money. It's the last time you've seen the boys for the year. But for God's sake, why are we clapping these boys off after that performance in a final? I'm just going to be honest now.
That's the standards of us with our footy
But
club.
anyway,
What is there to clap there? For fuck's sake.
Let's go back to the TDK scenario. For me, if his name is Sub, he's a player that you don't name him as Sub.
No,
He's
agree.
playing.
Correct.
He's playing, especially off the form that he was producing before, obviously, the injuries. He has to play compared to some other players,
Yeah, but this
like a Chera.
correct.
He's a player that shouldn't be playing after the
Doc.
performances, and even Doherty as well.
That's right. You're going to talk about TDK and not being ready, but then you've got Chera out there, clearly underdone, clearly not fit. Doc, well, we've said enough about him as well.
It's a fairy tale.
Correct.
It's
That's a
a miracle that he got out there, and I get
For
it.
me-
The sentiment and all that, and he's a spiritual fucking leader and all that. I get it, but you're basically telling the oppo at team selection, we're going to be vulnerable. Like, we're going to be vulnerable. Like, Brisbane would have looked at the team sheet and gone, he hasn't played for 6 weeks. He hasn't played for 6 months. He's underdone.
We said this before. If we had have played Moya, Lord, and Binns, would the result have been any worse?
Yeah, would we have been more than 60 to 0 down?
That is the problem
And no,
with our football club
it
and
wouldn't
not
have been.
trusting young
It
talent.
probably would have been better.
This is
That's the problem with
I
our
think
football
so
club.
too, and this is the question that I was going to ask is with the likes of all the 6 inclusions that we did have, obviously the Chera, the Doc, the Gov, TDK, Harry, and what was the last one? The last in that we had? Williams. Okay, with those 6 inclusions, does that give us more predictability or unpredictability with the other players that we could have potentially had in?
No, more.
And therefore, it would have made it harder for Brisbane in terms of the way we would have lined up, and obviously in terms of our performance and how we're actually going to go about the game.
Well, we spoke about it after the West Coast game, where, if for nothing else, we were unpredictable because we had a makeshift forward line that they couldn't have structured up for. Now it's West Coast, I get it, but at the same time, like we're saying, we kicked 11 of the last 16 goals of the game last night, and we still lost by 5 goals. So all it tells you is all we needed to do was stem the flow when they were 30 up in the first quarter.
We took too long to respond.
Right? And with
anything,
with
to stem the
a
flow.
lineup that would have been more unpredictable, I have no doubt in my mind. I've no doubt in my mind that we would have stemmed the flow and gained momentum a lot earlier.
It's not even lineup. It's specific personnel with desire.
That's right.
That's what it is.
That's right.
It's are we fielding players with the desire
But
to win
it's
games?
not only that, in terms of, because obviously the topic is selection. It's selection integrity in terms of who are we selecting based off rewarding players who are performing and have performed. Who are performing and who has performed. The last 2 games, Lord, Moya, I know it was only 2 snapshots, but in terms of what he produced, and that's another player, all right, maybe he wouldn't be able to play 100 minutes, 120 minutes, okay? But could he have played 80 minutes of good, skillful footy? 100%.
Oh, look at this.
Josh Lofts will never amount to anything because we refuse to reward young talent.
Correct.
Look at what the Hawks do as an example of what you should do.
Yeah.
That's
I'll
what we
tell you
said this
something.
morning. We said this morning pre-show.
What I look at is this. Now, from Voss and the coaching staff's perspective, I think that selection, big criticism, personally. The other one is a lack of faith in your young talent by not selecting him. I think he looked at Brisbane, he looked at the occasion, and he automatically went, they're not ready for it.
Which is rubbish.
That's reality.
Because
That's how he
because
thinks.
they proved they proved for the last 2 weeks.
I know, but
that.
that is the mentality of what transpired.
Now,
And instead, you're playing an Adam Chera who has done fuck all. You're playing a Sam Doherty who's come back 6 months earlier than when he should be. It's just it does not fucking make sense to me. And do you know what? A 60-point deficit is actually the fucking result of that.
Well, it's reflective. Yeah, it's reflective of first and foremost, it's reflective of poor selection, and that part there is on the coaches.
It's a joke. And then you've got players that can't turn the tide because they're fucking underdone and they're not good enough.
So on top of that,
and where the fuck were the leaders in and amongst all that to turn that around?
on top of the idea that we could blood young talent. For me, I look at Matt Kennedy. He's done nothing wrong all year. 0. He's probably had his best year, most consistent year for the club. We ask him to be Mr. Fix-It every single week. He plays in a different role, but his midfield output when he's been in there has been the absolute best that it's been all year. He gets subbed off a quarter and a half into the game.
Probably after
Whose
flying up.
dog did he kick at the club?
No.
Seriously.
Also,
How is he?
How
How did he
poorly?
get subbed out?
How poorly do you want to treat a guy that can actually like? You want to talk about a guy that could have turned the tide in the midfield at centre bounce?
I know.
Fuck me, man. He's the only one that goes in hard nosed outside of Cripps every time you put him in there. But no, you leave Adam Cherrett in there for a full game.
Yeah.
You want to sub off a midfielder? Sub him.
Yeah.
He's not ready.
We did perform better team-wise, obviously, when TDK... It was when TDK came.
Yeah, well, clearly.
Obviously.
Clearly.
Yeah. Was Kennedy the right move? I think not as well. I'm obviously with you boys too in regards to that. But at the end of the day, like, you got to keep in mind too, like, he obviously just had a kid the Friday. I'm assuming he would have flown in late Friday night, probably early Saturday morning as well. Like, it's a bit of a kick in the gut.
It's disrespectful, man. And you know what? If I'm Matt Kennedy, I'm not surprised if he leaves.
Yeah.
Seriously, this offseason,
It's a massive
seriously,
kick in the
I'm not
guts.
surprised
Yeah.
if someone like that asks for a trade. Because how
It
much
would
can
be
you
stupid to let him go.
how much could you disrespect a player?
It would be stupid.
He's been
to let
there
him go.
all year. He's done every role we've asked of him, and in an elimination final, he's the one you look for the sub.
And this goes in terms of the expectations that we have on players and rewarding
Correct.
players. Okay, we're rewarding players who are performing and not performing. Kennedy has performed, and we sub him. Chera done literally zero. Okay, he's been injured 5 times in the space of 18 months. This year, arguably his worst year for the footy club. Obviously, he hasn't been on the park, but when he has, done nothing, and he's still playing.
He gets
On
rewarded. He gets
on the
rewarded
perception-
over a Cooper Lord, who for the last 2 weeks, everyone has said he looks like he's good at the level.
All in the perception of superstars, quote unquote.
And
Realistically, this playing group have achieved nothing.
That
is plain and simple.
Well, prelim,
You're only
that's
on
all they-
judged
that's all
on
they've
what you've
achieved.
achieved.
a prelim is all they've achieved.
Prelim in a year, 2 years' time, you know what it's going to be? A distant memory.
Correct.
It will be, and that's
Distant memory.
yeah, it will be. It will
It'll
be.
be all
But
for
as
nothing.
supporters, we still hold on to the past. We still hold on to that.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, we need to start putting more expectation on this football club.
Yeah. Even like
In moments like this, I look at how far, how far we're off it. Jules, we watched Sydney GWS.
that was the
That
game.
game was
Unbelievable.
unbelievable.
Nah,
we
no.
both looked at each other and we go, we're nowhere near
The
that.
quality was unbelievable.
Sydney looked at all themselves in the eye. Jules, what are they, 25 or 28 points down?
At one stage, they were 28, 29 points down for sure.
And the way they were able to turn the tide and get the game back on their terms, just through pure grit
But they-
and determination.
But not only that, they
And every moment, you know what it is? Every moment meant something. A smother, a tackle, a goal, a behind, whatever the fuck it was, something meant something.
But on top of that, they organically started the momentum and
Themselves.
shifted it themselves. Through the likes of Papley going into the GRS players, getting the fans involved. Heaney with some brilliant individual performances on the actual day as well. They were able to manufacture
The coaches
momentum.
went on the touchline. They went on the touchline. They were fucking in the box.
Even on the bench, they were animated. Their
Yeah, they
leadership
were.
group were animated. It was just a different feel. That kind of behaviors we're seeing at the back end of last year, and we haven't seen it since.
Do you know what? This football club with where we're at, yeah, you were saying we've got 2 more years left, Joe.
Yeah, at the moment, that's how. I'm
If we
looking
don't
at it.
start looking at certain players in between the eyes and start calling it how it is and putting expectation on their performances and accountability, e.g. Motlop, e.g. Durden, e.g. Chera, all these type of players, we're not going anywhere because we accept mediocrity if their performances if their performances don't reflect their selection and they're in there.
How can you say we don't have? How can you say we have more than 2 years left when in 2022 we all said this is our window, next 3 to 5 years. That's the window, right? That's already 3 seasons ago by the time we start next year. 2 years is the max with this group now, unless we can find some absolute gold coming through or trading some role players in especially this offseason that are actually going to come in and play and do a job week in, week out to turn the tide.
Look, it could be next 2
Right,
years.
no,
3 years.
I'll tell you why. Here's the age profile, Jules. This is it. Doherty's 32. Newman's 32. Cripps is 31 next year. Fucking Charlie Curno's 28, bloke. Harry Mackay's 28.
Yeah.
Walsh is 26, 25. Wearing's 27. These players are just in their prime now. By the end of next year, they're all closer to 30 than they are 25. All of them.
Yeah. look, the way I put it into perspective, have a look at what other clubs are able to do. And you have a look at Geelong. How many prelims have they made? 13 and
13
18?
in the last 18.
18.
And when you look at it, but what they do is smart. Is they blood 3 to 4 young players in and amongst those experienced players every year.
And they play them.
Every year.
And they play them week in, week
and
out.
they back them in because they back their system
Yeah.
first and foremost.
You know, you have a look at that, and you have a look at Hawthorn. Yeah, what they've been down for maybe the last 4 years, maybe. Yeah, like down and out.
Yeah.
So it didn't take them long to turn it around either. And look at Sydney, what Sydney's able to produce. You know, we'll obviously see with the likes of Richmond now. Obviously, the last couple of years they've been down and out.
Hey, no doubt they'll bounce back quick.
But they'll probably bounce back as well.
Yeah,
so,
do you know why? Because they got their culture is built around a foundation of success. That's why.
So, like, things can turn around very quickly. It's just that these clubs have done it for a long period of time. We haven't done that yet, so it's hard for us to judge, I guess.
I'm sorry to have, like, I have this. We're not sorry, but this is always going to be a fucking negative podcast. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
There's
two comments here. Need a new coaching group. Update our playing style. And the second one says, as long as they play Voss's processes, all will be good. We spoke about this pre-show as well. Anyone we've criticised the selection, right? And that's where it starts and ends with me with the coaching group for yesterday's performance. We're going to move on to the players and how they could have turned the time in a minute. But when it comes to the coaching group, selection for me for the last 10 weeks has been what I've looked at to go, there's no integrity there. There's nothing, right? We spoke about this halfway through the year. After the Geelong game, we mentioned there's certain players on contracts that are about to come back in. I just want to know whether or not we've got the balls to not play them. And we didn't. We played them instantly. And that GWS game, Adam Chera and Matt Cottrell come in, they do fuck all. And since then, we've looked like dog shit. Looked like absolute dog shit. Now, not ruthless enough at selection is the number one thing for me from the coaching side of things. But you can't sit here and tell me that Voss and the coaching staff have no idea what they're doing tactically when we belted Geelong by 11 goals. Played 4 quarters of footy. You could see there was complete buy-in from the group in what they were doing. It's there. We've seen it with this coaching group. We made a fucking prelim with this game style. What happened after the Geelong and Richmond games where the buy-in collapsed?
What it says to me is that you don't reward performance. Our selection is purely off not rewarding performance. And then from there, it's a ripple effect.
Well,
that's plain and simple.
For me, it's
a ripple effect
it's the
from
fact that certain players are probably, well, not probably, by the looks of it, they know that and they're aware that as long as they're fit and healthy in terms of being able to be on the field, obviously not injured, they play.
Correct.
And they're not rewarding obviously the effort and behaviours that we want to see. You know, and obviously that escalates to having high standards, and then obviously that's the performance at the end of the day. Yeah, for me it's just not good enough. But it does start from the Geelong game for me. It definitely starts from there, and it stems from there.
I really don't know what to say.
Now the players, okay. So sure, on game day, you get selection wrong, then tactically you look a little bit inept. As a leader on the field, Cripps, Wiedering, Walsh, Harry, fucking whoever, McGovern, Akers, whoever we look at as the leaders of this football club, playing group. When you're 40-0 down in the second quarter, how are you not eyeballing each other going, boys, we got to turn this around now?
Exactly.
Regardless of whether or not the selection was right or wrong, regardless of whether or not we could tactically change things, as a fucking leader of this football club, how have you not eyeballed each other earlier than 60-0 to go fire the fuck up?
Yeah,
that's right. Why did it have to take till 60 points down?
Yeah.
Why is there not an innate nature to be that way inclined 6 points down or 12 points down?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to, because obviously we watched the Sydney GWS game, high quality game of footy compared to ours, and I think both teams, even Brisbane, were relatively poor. But Sydney and GWS, especially Sydney, again, they're organically trying to create moments in the game to try and shift momentum.
Yeah.
Trying to shift momentum. Before Cripps kicked his first goal, I can't specify or magnify one moment in the game when one of our leaders were trying to change a moment, trying to change the momentum in the game. Whether it was a big bump, a massive tackle,
no, we played with no urgency.
Nothing. There was zero. There was no urgency. like you said, Paysan, to try and change the momentum of the game. And that starts from the leadership group.
Do you know the way we're playing? It was like we were 10 goals up.
Yeah.
It was like we were. It took us until the third quarter to actually play with some dare through the corridor, or to play on instinct. And then result. Oh, shock! We fucking score from it.
And this is the most disappointing and frustrating part: is we let it get to a 10-0 lead. We actually closed the gap to something respectable, but at that point, we had to kick 5 straight to still be 5 goals down. It's too much. If you switch on earlier and I'm saying even if we're 40-0 down and you switch on at that point, you're 10 points down in the third quarter. Then you've got some fucking belief that you can go on with it. You kick 5 goals and you work as hard as you do and you look up the scoreboard and you're still 5 goals down, it's over, man. You're not coming back from that. No amount of belief and momentum can get you back from what the hole that we put ourselves in. Simple. We rock up.
Like I said, everyone talks about coaching, but it starts and ends with the players, because that instinct and dare that we'd seen in patches, the fact that that there's no ability to be able to produce that for 4 quarters, that's the concerning part.
Yeah.
That's the concerning part, that at a bare minimum, work rate, effort, desire, and dare cannot be replicated for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
How's this? Give it to us for fucking 3.
Yeah.
In saying that,
and then halve the contest for a quarter, what you always talk about.
In saying that, though,
bullshit.
I still think
no,
he's fucking red. He's actually gone red.
I still think there's elements of our game, like there was one passage of play, and I think that's what you're alluding to in regards to how we're moving the ball.
The handball chain.
There's a handball chain late in the game. It might have been late in the third.
But it wasn't clean.
It was the fourth when we threw everything at it. It wasn't clean.
It wasn't clean.
Ended up with Harry.
Yeah. So that game there, that part of the game there, we need more of that. Now, whether it's we try to do it, I'm not sure. But that passage of play, I think that's the game of football and the style of football and the brand of football that's going to stack up, I think, in terms of, playing finals.
You just got to take risks sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Like if you're hemmed into your back line and you're bombing down the wing, at some point just go, fuck it. Let's go through the middle. Let's try and get a handball chain going. If we cop a goal, reset at centre bounce. That's it. Rather than bomb it down the wing, waste 5-10 minutes in the game and cop a goal anyway. Like, just go at that point. Go earlier. Especially when you're 60 points down. What are you trying to protect at that point in a final? Lose by 20 goals. Seriously, lose by 20 goals at that point. It doesn't matter. Because it's got nothing to do with percentage. You're not playing next week if you lose. You need to try and fucking win at all costs. And we didn't do it until 10 minutes to go in the last quarter.
There's got to be some nous about the players to change it up. To start to make it hard for Brisbane to score and do something for us to get ourselves to score. Yeah. There had to be a shift from the playing group themselves to go, we just need to get the ball forward, gain territory, and we'll score from that. And defensively, we just need to make this a fucking slog for Brisbane to get any fucking possession. Yeah. Anything. They want to get the ball, they got to earn it.
Yep.
Yeah. But their ability.
But no, we take 60. And you know what? Even at 60 points down, we didn't even do that.
That's what I'm saying.
We didn't even do that 60 points down.
It took us till the 23rd minute mark in the second quarter to score our first. And even at that point, it fell into our lap, the goal. We didn't even earn it. It literally fell into our lap. There was a defensive error by the Brisbane players and Cripps was there to mop it up.
Yeah. Even in the first half, not even their ability, but our lack of pressure and intent to close down space, to not allow them to get the uncontested mark, so then they could do literally whatever they wanted.
And how's he saying?
And so identified by the coaching staff. But yet we were able to do it.
We can't allow them uncontested marks. How many did they have in a half of footy?
And they're transitioning it from left to right to be able to go inside 50 at ease. How's that happen?
Oh,
how did that happen?
Fucking hell. Honestly. Fuck me. Jesus Christ.
Tackles that don't stick. Pressure that's just, you know what it is? Our pressure, it's fake pressure.
Yeah, our pressure rating was 160 for the first half.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
It's all fake pressure.
We upped it to 190 in the third. Yeah. But on that, maybe, clearly, the game style it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. We talk about contest and pressure all year, sure. But Everyone gives that. That should be a given.
Of
Effort
course.
should be a given. That should be second nature at this point to these guys. From there, build a second layer that you're confident in. Whether I don't give a fuck anymore, whether it be stoppage or whether it be turnover, because we've had nothing for 10 weeks. Haven't been good at the fucking clearance. We couldn't win a centre bounce clearance yesterday to save ourselves to try and arrest momentum when they were on that 10-goal run to start. And there was no transition turnover game. So what have you got? What are you actually trying to take the game on with if you've got neither of those elements?
Just thinking, how many years have we been watching and we've been looking at other teams gallop into their forward 50 at ease? At ease. And for us, it's always a massive struggle to score. And it's genuinely off the back of work rate. We said it yesterday. So from an offensive, don't worry about defensively because there was fucking players free left, right, and center. Okay, yesterday, especially in the first half. Offensively, okay, the kick down the line isn't working. All right,
clearly.
So the only way to be able to then move the ball forward is off the back of work rate, to work harder than your opponent to make an option. And we don't do it.
So the kick down the line.
We jog. We hide behind players. We look for someone else to get us out. There's no work rate offensively to create an option. There's zero. And there hasn't been.
The kick down the line can actually work, right? If you set up properly.
To win a stoppage.
Either you've got your smalls at the front of the pack, waiting for the ball to come down with your talls, either evening it or getting a contested mark, or you belt the fucking ball over the line and get repeat stoppages. And you try and get first possession from there to set yourself up higher up the ground. But we don't do either of those things. We bomb it, either we mark it or we don't, and then we stop.
No, because you know what happens? The ball goes up down the line. Harry contests the ball, goes to the ground. You got Motlop and Durden running past the ball.
Yeah, literally.
They actually run past the ball. They're useless. They run past the ball and apply no pressure. Just how hard is it? See ball, get ball.
Yeah, I mean,
and even when Durden did get the ball when we had momentum, he literally just dropped it.
See ball, get ball. That's your instruction.
What do you mean he dropped it? He didn't even get touched. He wasn't even tackled. He dropped the ball.
You need a balance of both, but I don't think our pattern play. Okay, our pattern play in terms of the way we handball receive, in terms of the way we overlap, etc., compared to some other teams in the A, is up to scratch. Our ball movement is not up to scratch in terms of
it's not. We can't not move the ball.
GWS, Hawthorn, probably those three teams, maybe outside of Geelong, they're probably the best ball movement sides in the comp. And obviously in terms of performance-wise, over especially the second half of the year. Well, not second half of the year because Sydney have been out of it, but obviously they're in it with the first half of the year in terms of their performances in that area and when they get going. But they're probably the three ball movement sides, and one of those three teams will probably win the flag.
We don't have the players to do that. We don't have the players to move the ball.
But Hawthorn didn't have the players to do that in the first 5 weeks, and all of a sudden have a look at them.
No. So for me, Hawthorn actually did, and Sam Mitchell, the way that he set them up was, this is how we're going to live and die by it, because I know we've got the players to do it, to take the corridor on. We might get belted by 80 points every week, but eventually it'll click. And when it did, they actually did have the players. Like a D'Ambrosio, like a Weddle, like they've got fucking pace to burn through the midfield and off the back half. We don't. What outside of Adam Sard, right? And maybe Mitch McGovern. Who the fuck out of our back half can actually break lines with their leg speed? Think about it. No one. Genuinely zero. And with Adam Sard, we've collared him to a point that he's a lockdown defender now, and he's even scared.
But don't worry about your leg speed. But where it starts is the dare to be able to take the ball, the game on.
Yeah. For me, it's not.
It doesn't mean by having leg speed. It's by foot.
Yeah, by foot.
Yeah, by foot or by hands. Look at Hawthorn, all right? I'm sick of comparing to other teams.
It's their intensity and tenacity, the way they do it. It's not just the leg speed.
Their handball chain.
You do need leg speed, and you do need good ball users.
Joe,
That's the second layer. We don't have good ball users.
But Joe, even by hand,
AFL footballers.
They're not. But hold on, you can't say we're a skillful side. We've been saying this for 10 years.
Joe,
we're not skillful.
Because you've got to practice 100%. I'd love to go to. All right, this is my question. Or not question. Do you think Hawthorn and Carlton would be training the same way?
No, absolutely not.
From an intensity standpoint,
not just intensity.
No, from a skill standpoint.
In terms of what they do.
I'm sorry, you can't say you can't. But I'm sorry.
That's why Hawthorn are able to do what they do. Sydney GWS are able to do
But
what
bloke,
they do, and when
they're young players at
And
Hawthorn
can't.
that can be moulded. We've got players that are no longer
Joe.
young that have been doing the same thing for 6, 7, 8 years. Like, I'm sorry, this year, our most effective footballer by foot was Patrick Cripps. That's an indictment on the rest of the playing group. That he is your best ball user by foot. And it's not a knock on him, but he's never been a good ball user by foot. How the fuck can he, how can he be our number one ball user by foot?
Joe,
Seriously,
starts and
an
ends-
inside mid that's 194 centimeters.
It starts and ends at round 5, for example. Sam Mitchell looked at every single player in the eye and abused them on the field. In the presser, he called it for what it was. He set an expectation with every player that if you are not living up to this standard and playing at this standard, you will not play. Voss does not demand the same from the players.
Yep. At this point,
He doesn't.
At this point, you can say
Because you can well and truly say that.
that. Or maybe he does because behind closed doors we don't know. Maybe he does.
Closed doors.
Hold on. Maybe he does, and he doesn't get the response.
Do you think Lee Matthews?
This is the
Now,
thing.
you always say this.
if I'm not getting a response, then I'm going straight to the board
Correct.
and the list manager. I'm sorry, these players aren't up to
I'll
it.
ask you this.
Get me players.
Hold on.
that are
Let's
gonna
wait.
Let's settle down.
It's
Settle
true.
down.
It's true though.
I know, but hold on. Can I ask you?
Sure.
Can I ask you a serious question? Can I
No,
ask
it's on this. On this. Just wait. Michael Voss played under Lee Matthews. What would he have done?
Oh,
What would he have done? What would he have done at quarter time?
He would have gone through him.
What would he have done at quarter time? What would he have done at patches in the season with what we've
But hold
seen
on.
that has been a pass mark or allowed to happen?
Hold on.
What would a coach of Lee Matthews stand up?
So
and
when Voss
done-
came to the
done in that
club,
situation?
he sprayed him twice.
Don't
Don't
play
hold.
him then if you can't handle a
Spray.
spray.
But
Have we seen it
that
since?
goes.
Have
That
we
goes.
seen it? Have we
But
seen
that
it
goes
since?
to exactly what I said.
Correct.
So this is my point. Are you more concerned? This is the thing that really fucking scares me. I don't know what's scarier, what the scarier prospect is if they're not having the conversations and they're not holding each other accountable, and that's why we're getting the results that we are, or if they are, and we're still getting these results. Think about it. Imagine
Ask your question.
imagine
facts.
that they are having these conversations, and this is the response we're getting.
I'll tell you, this is the fact. This is what it is. The fact that we don't know is the problem.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah,
true.
correct.
Yeah, it's true.
That's right.
The
That's
fact
exactly
that we
right.
don't know is the problem.
Thank you. End the
Because
podcast on that.
Hawthorn, after 5 rounds, Sam
Yeah,
Mitchell was
well
pointing
done.
people and fingers in the eye.
It's
in
true.
presses at
100%.
at half time or quarter time, whatever it was. Okay, and
I
he was
don't-
asking the question.
Jules, I don't need to hear I'm proud of the team or we need to be more consistent next year. No. You call it for what it is.
Mikel Arteta, Arsenal, hammers them when they lose.
Yeah, you know what? You know why? Go look where he learned from.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Look where he learned
Pep.
from.
I know. He learned from Pep.
Go watch Pep.
But like this is my point.
Go watch Pep.
Every high performance environment in sport, the account and I said this to
The
you.
players run the
I
club.
said this on the fan cams yesterday. I don't think enough people understand what high performance actually means and looks like in sport.
Do you know what it means? Winning.
It's not that, but it's not just winning. It's not just winning, but that's the end result. Winning is the end result. It's everything before that to make sure that if you're not fucking buying in, you know about it. You know about it, number one. And you're embarrassed by it.
Everyone.
Embarrassed by it to a point where you want to be better. We're not that club. We're a nice fucking football club. That's what we are.
Have you seen there's like a footage, Vincent Kompany? Have you seen that footage?
Yeah, when you abuse him at Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Where he's
In the
going
change
and
room.
full on, not on the
No,
pitch.
on the pitch.
On the
It was a
pitch.
passing drill. They did a
Passing
possession
drill.
drill and he was flipping it
Flipping it.
because one guy passed it not in the direction he wanted to.
Full on abusing him.
And we've got to go there every week and watch warm-ups where they're fucking trying to snap around the body and banana dribble and all that while they're going for set shots. And then we wonder why we kick 1-8 against Collingwood to start and give ourselves a 30-point lead to try.
Like the crux of this whole thing is what we've just spoken about the last 2-3 minutes. That is the crux of everything. That is if that is not fixed and there is not a shift. Listen, if a player is not performing, okay, and they can't handle a spray or they can't handle criticism for not performing and they're dropped, see you later.
And that's why. That's why.
Accept that they won't play.
That's
But
why.
the club need to accept it and the coaching staff need to accept it. They don't.
So when it's good, we're 11-4. We're sitting second. We were second for 6 weeks, right? Second on the table. We had 6 weeks to consolidate it, and we couldn't. But when you're 11-4, you can enjoy it as a supporter. I stand by this. As a supporter, you can enjoy it. As a supporter, you can get a bit ahead of yourself and go, "Fuck, how good is this?" We've set ourselves up here for a serious tilt, right? Like we were, right? And I think all three of us at one point went, "Fuck, we're probably going to be in a grand."
Right? We're second on the ladder.
But as a playing group and as a club, you cannot get sucked into that.
No.
You don't have the right to get sucked into that. We can, because we're there week in, week out supporting you. So when it's good, we're allowed to get a little bit ahead of ourselves. As a playing group, if you get sucked into your own hype, you've already lost. And they did.
Yeah.
There was an interview from, I think it was Weeders, like 3-4 weeks ago. And he was asked the question, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like, like, of course, at the time, with the position we're in, of course you're going to look ahead. No! Look as far as next week, man, and consolidate your form. You only beat Richmond, West Coast, and North Melbourne from that point. That's it. You played like a bottom 4 club for 12 weeks, and you fell into finals, and it showed. Because you thought the job was done.
Do we want to go into some honourable mentions or no?
Nah, fuck honourable
You
mentions.
got one?
Nah.
Have you got one?
I don't want to talk about
Lewis
nothing.
Young.
Oh, all right.
No,
Actually, I wouldn't mind.
I don't care.
You don't have to. I'm happy to talk about Lewis Young now. Yeah. I reckon we persist with him. He's been good the last 3 weeks. And we've been screaming out for a key defender next to Weeders.
Well, he's been able to produce before. His first year for the club, he done very well. Since then, obviously not so much, but obviously he's done a couple of good things, or had a couple of good games in the last 2-3 weeks. Yeah, I think he's one to persist with, especially obviously with the keys that we have.
But we have to, because we've got no other key defender.
Yeah.
But the fact that he has shown at least some desire again, and he went back with the flight to take a mark yesterday, took a couple of really good contested marks, dropped it in the hole for Hewitt when we were in the third quarter, so his ball use is even looking a little bit more confident. Like, we don't have another key defender we can persist with, so we actually have to go with him.
How's this? So the only thing I will say on Lewis Young, otherwise I'm going to stay quiet, is do you think that he's a player because he's been sprayed by Weeders on field?
Yep.
He'd been called out in presses.
Yeah. But look at
and the response. So if you're saying that that's the type of product that you think and you believe that he's going to continue off the back of tough love, harsh criticism, then yeah, it's a player to stay if he can continue.
Yeah.
So you need to start finding out which players can and which players can't.
I just don't know.
and then you go on to base that. Because Lewis Young, to be fair, everyone at one stage wanted him out of the club.
Yeah.
Weeders on field clearly showed that he didn't want to play next to him.
Well, he wasn't confident in him yet.
Correct?
Yeah.
So if anyone had been publicly sprayed and called out, it was him. So now it's gone from not wanting him to now wanting him there. And if that's the type of response that you get out of a player like Lewis Young, then he stays. But if it's someone like an Adam Chera can't cop that, see you later.
Yeah, I don't know.
Motlop, fucking see you later because you've done nothing.
He's written them all off.
No, if you can't, cope with criticism and wanting to be
we've
better.
spoken about this season. I think we've done that to death. We've spoken about the elimination final. There's nothing more to talk about with that final in the review, right? So last episode of the year for us. Let's look forward a little bit, okay? Now I'm not saying right now what we have to do is who we're going to trade out, who do we need to trade in. We don't have to do that. I'm going to make one statement here though, right? Clearly we need to make some pretty brutal calls this offseason on a few players, right? And the obvious ones, and these aren't even brutal for me at this point, right?
No, they're not brutal.
Marchbank, Cunningham, Martin, those types, that is first one. They have to be, right?
They're gone.
They have to be. But they're not.
They're gone now.
I know, but fans are looking at that as the brutal calls. I'm not talking about that.
No.
There are players on our list that we think have talent or desire that clearly don't. Clearly don't. I'm not going to name players. I'm not going to do that today. But this is all I will say.
I would be shifting players that played last night out so we can get certain players in. This is
all I'll say on next year, right? And this is, you guys can take it from this. The thing that scares me the most about next year, there are going to be changes this offseason because there have to be. And if there's not, I'll be ropeable. There'll be changes to players and to coaching staff and to admin. There just will be, right? That's where we're at. Fucking Sayers is done as president, so we're gonna have someone else coming in. Yeah, or has he got another year?
I think another year.
One more year.
I thought he only got extended for this year.
I don't know.
No, I think
Anyway, whatever. Sayers and Cook are done by the end of next year, right? So that's it. They're not signing on that. Well, Sayers definitely can't sign on after that. I don't know if Cook will, but they're done next year. There will be changes to coaches, to players, to admin over this offseason that we'll see. However big or small it is, I don't care. Well, I do care, but I don't know. The thing that scares me the most is we're going to lose players from this playing group that have been playing with the core group of players for 7-8 years now, right? They're all mates, right? Knowing this club and knowing how mentally fragile they have looked at times, I am almost convinced that if we make these changes, we will finish bottom 6 next year at a minimum, maybe bottom 4. I don't think you're going to get the response. I seriously don't think you're going to get a positive response by making these changes straight off the bat. Long term, maybe, but knowing this group and knowing what we've seen now for 10 years from this group and how they respond under different coaches, different admin, whatever it is, my main concern is if we make these changes and they lose some of their mates because we're too nice of a club, you're not going to get the response. That's the thing that scares me to the shit house, is that we could be sitting here next year talking about a bottom 6 club very easily, or they eyeball each other for once in their life and actually start holding each other accountable in a high performance environment. Proper. There's not going to be any excuses for injury next year. We've got the fucking Sydney boss coming in. That's hype. That's from another high performance culture. We said it about Russell. So
People are only judged on their product from now.
Of course.
You can't say that
Exactly right.
can't say that there's going to
What's
be
his
no
name?
injuries.
McInnes?
You know what?
What's his name?
McInnes.
McInnes. For me,
How can you be judged? How can you say that? How can you comment on someone like same thing? We got Andrew Russell in, and everyone was like, "Oh, we're going to be so much better. He's come from Hawthorn, this, that, whatever." Same thing. Show us product. You can only be judged on what you produce. Plain and simple.
I'll put it this way,
There's
if
no
we have-
expectation on him until he shows us.
We have more than 6, 7, 8 injuries consistently next year, each game, then question mark.
Can I say,
You're only judged on
yes or no?
You're only judged on your product.
on the fitness side of things, right? So when Andrew Russell's announcement comes out, Cripps and Doherty make Instagram posts thanking him and saying that he's the best thing that happened to their career.
Can I ask you a question?
So if that's the case,
How many players did that?
yeah, only those 2 that I could see, right? So if that's actually
They're leaders. I feel like as if they have to.
No, but hold on. Yes or no? Well, potentially yes. But if you take that on face value and that's the case, there's only 2 people that have stood behind him. Is that actually a reflection on him, or is it a reflection on the players doing everything that he's telling them to do, and doing the extras that they know they need
both,
to do?
No,
Yeah, well, potentially. I don't know. I'm just
going
asking a
off his
question.
interviews.
it's definitely
He's
both.
overloaded the players something stupid.
Yeah, it's definitely both.
If you're going off that interview,
I don't know.
clearly there's
I don't know. For me, next year, it's a massive, massive, massive concern. And if you think we're going to bounce back that easily after this,
I think
I don't know, man.
in terms of the amount of ins and outs from our list, in terms of a list perspective,
there'll be 10 at least.
yeah, I'm going minimum 8.
There'll be 10.
But yeah, I'm telling you now, there should be quite a few movements, to be honest with you. There just has to be. There just has to be.
Are we done?
You got anything else to say?
Well, I'm hungry and we're in Madrid.
Alan Madrid.
I think that's it. Oh,
I want to go see them.
I feel like we said what we need to say.
Almost.
Keep calm. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10.
Not happy, Jen!
So, if you can see, I haven't been happy the whole episode. Just to continue. So Jules and I, we had a good. How's this? The topic is Emirates.
Oh. We've called out every
First leg, very
I think
good.
we've called out Qantas, Virgin, and now Emirates.
Yeah.
Emirates
First
is
leg,
next.
very good. First leg, unbelievable. How good was the plane?
The plane, Joe. We even said we thought we were in premium economy because
Yeah.
the amount of seat routes.
Oh yeah, on
space-
Emirates, your leg, and you know who else is good with that? Qatar, just by the way.
Yeah, Qatar's good.
But this is the first flight, so 13
yeah,
hours.
first flight, second flight, very different.
This is where this is the rant. First flight. Me and Jules watched the Sydney game on the first flight.
They had the live sport.
TV.
They had the live sport on the TVs. Yeah.
Wi-Fi was working. We watched the game. We both said to each other, how good is this? Because we'll get on the plane, get on quick, turn on live TV, and we'll watch the Carlton game pretty much in its entirety.
Yeah.
Little did we know that this didn't happen. First of all, they do a baggage check like Jules mentioned at the start of the show.
Yeah.
So
we're thinking the Wi-Fi
isn't
working
yeah.
because obviously Wi-Fi's got to be off, so then you can fly, like get in the air, etc. Then they'll switch it on. No.
Well, we couldn't remember. We didn't remember when the Wi-Fi actually came on for the flight.
Usually that is the case where only after they take off they proper switch it on.
Yeah.
So they do this baggage check of the whole plane first.
They're delaying that.
Joe, they literally opened every single thing.
I checked every bag.
And go, we need to do a baggage
I got
verification.
Got out of my seat. That's mine. That's mine. That's Daniel's.
What was the reasoning?
No idea.
No idea. There was just these Spaniards going nuts.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Then we start to take off. Me and Jules are cooking in the seat because it's hot. The heat in Dubai and waiting in that plane was a joke.
Oh, so they did that while you're waiting on the tarmac.
On the tarmac? Joe!
Yes. They moved the flight. They moved the plane and we'll just sit in there cooking.
Then, so we're sweating bullets. Me and Jules keep pressing the button, live TV, like these like idiots. Live TV, live TV, live TV. Jules goes, this is fucked. He goes, I'm going to ask. Jules goes and asks the woman who walks down.
She had no idea.
Hey, can you go, what's happening with the Wi-Fi? And she's like, oh, I'll go and check.
Do you think she'd come back?
She didn't come back.
She didn't come back, bloke.
So you didn't have Wi-Fi the whole flight?
Asked another woman, oh, we don't have any.
Yeah. Lost it
in the sea.
Like
he goes to me.
Like a kid, he threw a tantrum.
He goes to me. Stuff this, Dan. I'm just going to go to sleep. Carks it. I'm about to put on a movie because we're fuming. And I go, you know what? You're just right. We both sleep. Then lunch.
Oh, I haven't heard this.
Yeah, lunch. No worries. We're start of the plane, all right? We're at the front of the plane. Me and Jules look at the menu. It was beef, something,
and
some fucking chicken meatballs, which I've never had in my life.
Yeah.
We go, you know what? We want to nail the beef. The woman goes to us, oh, there's no more beef left.
You're the first ones.
We're like fifth row.
And we go, oh, that's okay. We go and get some from there and we'll wait. She goes, oh, we can't guarantee it.
Yeah, I would have lost it.
To be fair, these chicken things are actually all right. Then,
you just haven't heard
it. Listen to this. Then, I think we carked it again. We didn't even really speak to each other on the flight. Then,
that fuming.
They had a snack.
What was the snack?
Margarita pizza and some turkey thing. Jules goes, bloke, if they don't have margarita pizza, I'm going to lose it.
They didn't have it.
No, listen to this. Worse. Jules gets a margarita pizza. I'm thinking, beautiful.
Oh, you got the last one.
He got the last one.
Oh, you must have been genuinely fuming.
At that point, I just wanted to get here so I could watch the game, and then we lost it. And then we were down by 60. Forget about it. Anyway, guys, see you next year. All the best. I'm going to put some deodorant on.
Yeah, thank you for the year. Thank you for tuning in, whether it was live, whether it was on Spotify. You can go down if you're done. Go. Whether you tune in on Spotify throughout the year, on YouTube live, or whenever you watched it. I think we did 30-odd this year, 30-odd episodes. We
too many.
I think we'll be back next year. Is that right?
Yeah. Depends on.
We'll be back. We actually really love it.
We will.
do.
How's this? We'll be back, but I can't guarantee we finish next year, depending on how this club goes, because this is fucking hard at this point. It's
you could be seeing a cast of Josh, Corey, and Reese across the show.
It's very hard to do. So we will be back. We're taking a long break. We won't be back until January at this point. which is nice. It's nice for us to have a few months off. But thank you for another year. That's season 4 of the Almost Blues Brothers done. And I'm not going to say up the baggers to finish this off, but we'll see you in 2025. That's it. And well done, boys. Good year.
Cheers, boys. Been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Let's go enjoy Madrid.